Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making tutorial in which we are going to make this card. Okay, so something, the layout's a little different from what I would normally do. I've decided to anchor it slightly down in the bottom there. Okay, so it's a style I've seen other people do. I mean, it's not unique by any stretch of the imagination, but it's quite popular with other card makers. I've always tended to sort of centralise my focal points, but I thought I'd give this a go, and I've really enjoyed how that's turned out. But there's some exciting things that I'm using with this card that I really want to talk to you about just for a couple of minutes before we get cracking. So I have done a card with this lovely fresh cut flowers stamp set before. This is in the annual catalogue. But I have to say, it was slightly disappointing that there was no dies with it. But you'll be pleased to know that there are now a coordinating set of dies, which is super duper fantastic. Cuts out all the elements within the stamp set and some. So we have some extra little sort of seed pods, flowers, this lovely sprig I think which would have looked very nice alongside this card as well. Some additional leaves and this cute border as well. So this is super duper. So if you haven't got the stamp set, you can actually purchase these as a bundle now and save 10%. And if you have got the stamp set, well, the die set is absolutely fantastic in my opinion, because I think it just opens up this lovely set to some additional versatility, really. Okay, so that's that. What are they called? They're called fresh cut stems, I think. Yes, fresh cut stems. Okay, so that's the die we're using today, so I'm just going to pop that out to one side, but isn't that super duper, so that's something I wanted to share with you. And then not something brand new to me, and I had sort of overlooked a little, I think, in the catalogue, or rather I looked at it and went, do I need that, and actually of late I've done a couple of videos where I've ended up fussy cutting sentiments, and it isn't the easiest thing in the world to do, I have to say. However, this stamp set, which is actually one of our $1 million achievers, this is from Lisa Curcio. She's an American demonstrator. So she's pulled together this greeting set, Charming Sentiments, lots of different occasions captured within the set. So there you go, and it's all photopolymer, so it's nice and easy to use as a standalone item. But we have this set of wonderful dies, so that's the one we're going to be using today. But there's actually 2 sheets of dies with this. Whoops, if I can get them out of the thing. Because in addition to the words, we do have little candles and sort of a flower and a stem, this little dotty border thing, star and a heart. So there's some other little bits and pieces which are cute as well, that you could use in other elements of your card making. So that's lovely as well. So I always put my dies into a case, by the way, like this, so they come to you sandwiched between these papers, which is all well and good, but you can't see what's in the packet if you've forgotten. So I tend to take them out of the packet and lay them on the back so you can see them now. This has got 2 sets, so it doesn't work quite as well, but for most of the sets there's only one piece of backing card. But if you put them in so that the slotty thing for the closure is there, sometimes they get caught on the die and it's really frustrating, so I actually flip it over and make sure the dies are on the sort of flat side, if you like, so you can see them really easily. Okay, what you've got, and it also means you've got a nice smooth surface to pop that tab into, and they close a lot easier as well. So that's another little nugget of information for you. Alright, so that's Charming Sentiments, available as a bundle or individually. But yeah, so that's what I have done today. Some simple blends colouring is what we're going to do, nothing heroic. Just to do something a little different, okay? And as always, I try and give you some alternative ideas. So this is actually Old Olive and Actually, it's a mix of Highland Heather and Fresh Freesia, actually, just to get a little bit more tone in there. Bit of a pool party in the background on a pool party card base, and the iridescent rhinestones, of course, just go with anything. So we'll stick with those guys. But we're going to change the base card and stuff. So first of all, let's just get our stamping done. Just going to use Memento ink. So sentiment will get done, and of course that will need to be die cut, so we'll just get that on there, so there's no worry about getting that centralised on a block or anything like that, because we're going to cut it out. So that's that, which we'll do in a sec. And then we've got our lovely little flowers, which we are going to stamp very frugally onto this scrap of paper. So I'm going to do them this way and then this way. I did end up trimming a little bit of the stems to position it on the other one, but it's going to fit quite nicely on there. So, you know, keep these scraps of cardstock, okay? You just never know when you might need something. I'm just going to get this die on here and positioned ready. These are a tight fit. They've been designed so that you can line them up and there is no border whatsoever. Okay, so you line it up exactly with your wording, particularly around those swirls and things, and that's going to be a perfect cut for you. Just popping that into place with some washi tape. And like I say, we've got some very simple colouring that we want to do with the flowers here, and we're going to switch the colours up. We're going to go with Granny Apple Green, something a little brighter and fresher. Okay, I am doing just very basic shading in that. I'm just going to put a little bit of the dark in the base of these sort of seed pod things. They look a bit like you know, poppy seed heads, you know, things like that. I mean, you know, there is nothing spectacularly technical about what I'm doing here. Just pop in a little bit top and bottom for the big ones, and then just at the base of the little ones. Just going to try it. Oh, there seems to be some gunk on the bottom of that, so I don't know what that is. Let's try the other end. That's it, that's better. And I'm just going to, you know, might be a bit of a stretch to say blending it, but going over that image with the lighter colour there. And just the very workings of the markers will mean that those colours will mix. They will blend in together, if not instantly, over the course while they're drying. So, like I say, very simple. Of course, if you don't have Stampin' Blends markers, we do have other colouring mediums available. So you can use your Stampin' Write markers. They're the water-based markers. You would have to use a waterproof ink for that. So that would be Stays On for us at Stampin' Up. These leaves I'm just doing plain, just not dropping any shadow in at all. I'm just colouring them in. They are so small. It's really not going to make much of a difference. Yes, so Stays On for if you want to use a water-based thing. You could watercolour, of course. Same would apply. You'd have to use your waterproof ink for the outline. So you can do that with your classic ink pad. So you can put a little bit of the ink splush, you know, sort of smush it onto a block or some other non-porous surface and use it as a palette. And then we have the watercolour pencils too. Okay, so again, you'd need your permanent ink for that. So that was Granny Apple Green, and then I'm going to bring in Floaty Flamingo. I've had a little bit of a reorganisation of my my craft space. I might take some pictures of it actually and post it for you. just in case you're curious. So up until very recently, I'm just doing the centres here and popping a little bit in the outer bits of those petals there. My ink pads and things were in rainbow order. I might switch to the bullet tip actually on this because they are small areas. So yeah, so they were in a rainbow, and I was having to think about, you know, the layout of what I've got in front of me. I've got the Stampin' Up storage in front of me here, and people have different ways of organising things. And I took it upon myself to completely rearrange it all. I'm going to bring in dark petal pink to bring in the lightness from the edge now. So they're now arranged in colour families. So every now and again I look up and I go, where's that gone now? Because it's not where I'm used to it to be in, if you know what I mean. But this is the first day I've really been in here crafting and using them in this order. So it's still a little, not strange, but different. So thus far, apart from the fact that I look up and don't instantly know where my stuff is. Well, I do, but I don't. As in, so things like, if I was to reach for pool party ink, I'd have just gone to the top of the row right there, and now it's there. So it's just interesting, just adjusting your focus. Just going in little circles here. I am working a little bit to try and get that to blend in. Sometimes when you're using, it's petal pink rather than, it's not a shade of Flirty Flamingo. Just have a bit of work at that blend point just to make them play together. But these two colours actually, I think, Flirty Flamingo and petal pink are really nice when you get them to blend together. Just moving in little circles, going over those other colours, and it just sort of brings them out a little bit. And I found that as I did, was I wandering off the camera then? With the other ones, just to go back to the centre with the original dark Flirty Flamingo marker, just to bring that out just ever so slightly. So that was those, and of course a bit of shimmer. Doesn't go amiss, does it? So this is Wink of Stella, clear Wink of Stella ink. Just gives you that little bit of extra oomph. To the card. So that's it. So nice and simple, non-heroic colouring. We'll just get that that die in place. So we are going to have to obviously die cut this piece twice, but it only takes a couple of moments to do, so I hope that's okay with you guys. The other one's already on the base plate of my Stampin' Cut and Emboss, so I'm just going to put those two through together. As long as the dies don't overlap each other, that's perfectly cool, and I've got them taped down anyway because I want them positioned in the right place. Now I do find that my dies sort of stick themselves to the base plate. It must be just the sheer pressure, I think, from the process. Okay, so there's our beautifully cut out sentiment without having to try and fussy cut around that, which I think is marvellous. So we won't be needing that again. And then we've got our flower stem, also equally stunningly die cut. So pretty, right? So pretty. So just bear with, just needed to get that through once more. So we've got both of our elements through, In case you're curious, the mat that I've been working on today is the deluxe mat that you can get as an additional purchase, designed to fit in your Stamparatus tool, which if you haven't got, you definitely need. So it comes with a basic foam mat, which is all super duper and cool and fine. Does what it needs to do. But like I say, I have upgraded to this, so I now have 2 of them. So I've got one with my Stamparatus, because this surface is wipe clean. So that means if your stamps go over the edge, you can just wipe it away. Whereas the foam mat is foam; it'll dry, but it won't wipe off. There we go. There's number 2. So that's really, really cool. But often you'll see me work on the grid paper, which of course you have to throw away. This thing, I don't have to throw away, do I? I can just wipe it clean again. So I am going to try, instead of reaching for paper that I have to throw away each time, reach for this instead. Okay, so that's what that is. And of course, with it having a grid on, means it's super convenient for lining things up as well. Going to grab the mini dimensionals for this, and for the minis I do like to use a pokey tool that I cannot find. They're staring me right in the face. I do find it easier just to pick these up with a pokey, to be fair. So I just grab those off the backing sheet, and I found that 3, one behind the flower and one behind each of these leaves, was perfectly sufficient to give the support that we needed. Okay, so we'll just do that for both of those, which is cool. And then we'll put some kind of centrally on the back of here. We don't need to go overboard, it's fine. Okay, so there's our elements. So to spice things up, is it spicing things up? I don't think it's spicing things up really. Changing the colourway, so I used the Pool Party on here. I'm going to bring in grey granite for this, and because we used the we used Pool Party on the background for this, and it tones in with the card base. So I'm going to bring in my grey granite ink pad to do a similar sort of bit of blending around there. So if I just show you something quickly, have I taken the backings off? No, I haven't. That's right. To put our beautiful elements on, like so. Now I don't know about you, but I feel like, now this might be a look that you want, don't get me wrong. I feel like it all sort of sinks into the background a little bit. But likewise, I didn't really like it without the white background, although actually in this colourway, that's interesting. Okay, so yeah, I think I still want the white background, but having the ink just helped it just come off the page a little bit. Horses for courses. Now that colourway doesn't work too badly actually in terms of a layout, but we're going to stick with what we were intending. So a little bit of ink. The grey granite is going to be quite dark. I'm going to start roughly where the sentiment's going to sit. It's not going to be precise by any stretch of the imagination. It's roughly going to be about there. And I'm going to do circular motions outwards. Now I have actually gone quite light on that, so actually I probably need a little bit more than that. You don't want to over ink anything, because you can't take it away once you've put it down, right? Now bear in mind that that blobby bit's going to be hidden away. I think I might want to go out a little more. Just to help those stems pop as well. Okay, so it's not going to take much, and like I say, if there had been much ink going over the side there, that could be just wiped away. Okay, so it doesn't look particularly attractive right now, but once we get everything pulled together, that's going to be super duper. Don't want Seal Plus, I want regular seal, so just grabbing my Seal Plus tape runner, it's not plus, Seal tape runner, and going to lay that onto the card base. Should say that this layer is actually a bit smaller than what I would call a regular card layer, so I cut it 1/4 of an inch shorter and narrower. So this is 3 3/4 by 5.5. Okay, just make sure your fold's nice and crisp so that it stays shut. I found the best plan to make sure that your layout's going to work is to put this one at the bottom first. In fact, I'm going to take off all my backings while I'm at it. So let's put this guy in where we want it, so it's going to be there. Okay, then pop our sentiment over the top. And again, if it goes over the edge of the card, I think that looks cute too. I just think it ties everything together, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to pop that there. Okay, and then this guy can be slotted in wherever it feels like it can go. Just don't want that raw edge. That raw edge was going to pop out there, so I'm just twisting that slightly to there. So centered a little bit more to the left and towards the bottom. Okay, using Granny Apple Green, Flirty Flamingo and Petal Pink for the flowers, a little bit of Wink, and Grey Granite in the background. This one was Old Olive, Highland Heather with a bit of Fresh Freesia, and Pool Party. Ooh, rhinestones, rhinestones. I was thinking there's something missing, Don't forget odd numbers are always going to look better. So, and the iridescent rhinestones are very good in that what they will do is pick up the colours of your project, which I think is really cool. They just sort of catch the right amount of light, and then a medium one. So I'm using 5 as my odd number to sort of carry that sweep through in the embellishments. So that's those, aren't they cute? Okay, really like that, but I really like this too. Leave it up to you guys, which one do you like the best? Or what the combination would you have used? Okay, super race. Worth checking out those products. Links will be in the description for you. Love to have your business. Hope everyone's taking care, staying safe out there. Speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye.